Hello, BookTube. Who's up for starting the week with some nice big mail haul? Let's look at the mail and see what we have. Let's see if there's anything squeal-worthy in here. What is this first one? I'm gonna have to work out the ergonomics here because I just moved here to the couch. I'm flirting with the idea of summer actually coming, which means that I can spend time out here as well. Oh, fantastic. Okay, this is coming out. This is a June release. No, this is July. Okay, this is a July release. We've seen it already on this channel. It's by Benjamin Cohen, and it's an appeal to the ladies of Hyderabad. A scandal in the Raj. In April 1892, a damning pamphlet circulated in the southern Indian city of Hyderabad, the capital of the largest and wealthiest princely state in the British Raj, and a wonderful place to visit. An anonymous writer charged Mehdi Hassan, an aspiring Muslim lawyer from the north, and Ellen Donnelly, an Indian-born British wife, with gross sexual misconduct and deception. The scandal and trial that ensued sent shockwaves from Calcutta to London. Who wrote this pamphlet, and was it true? And in this book, which I am ashamed to say I have not got to it, the author... oh, baby, did you... Oh, I should push it. Oh, I should pull. The author sifts through all of the original sources. It just finds a great story and decides to find out how much of it is true and how we would know that. Just right up my alley, but I haven't got to it yet. So I'm gonna have to do that. But where am I gonna put these things? I've got the couch right here, and I've got a stool right here with the camera on it. I'll have my team here at Steve Donahue Studios work out the ergonomics. So we've got a ton of these white envelopes. So there could be a lot of finished copies here. The only problem that I really see with putting things right here is that if Frida wants to get off the couch, she's not going to have a way to do that. Maybe we'll just keep her there then. Okay. All right, I think this is the first in a series. I think we saw this already. This is from the great folks at Minotaur Books. It comes out in June. It's by Alison Montclair, and it's The Right Sort of Man. A charming, compelling mystery. Slow down there, Seymour. I'll quite literally be the judge of that. The author blends meticulous research with two brilliantly imagined main characters in the first of a wonderful new series. Okay, it takes place in London in 1946. Two women who recently started the Right Sort of Marriage Bureau find their new livelihood endangered when one client is arrested for the murder of another. That would tend to put a stink on your new business. In a London slowly recovering from the ravages of World War II, two very different women join forces to launch a business venture in the heart of Mayfair, the Right Sort of Marriage Bureau. Miss Iris Sparks, avuncular and unmarried, and Mrs. Gwendolyn Bainbridge, practical and widowed with a young son, are determined to achieve some independence and do some good in a rapidly changing world. What an odd premise for a murder mystery series. I love it. I love it. And their new business model, their new business venture, it seems like it's going to be scuttled right out of the starting gate by this murder. That's fantastic. I'm always up for the first in a new murder series, because I love me murder mystery series. But that is downright weird. The two of them don't have any... The thing that makes it so interesting is that they don't have any intention of solving crimes. It's not like they're setting up a shingle as private investigators or insurance claimsmen or something like that. Okay, great. All right, let's move on. We really do have a large number of these things. So, oh my. Okay, well... The literary world is going to sit up and take notice. This is due in October, I believe. Yes, this is due in October. This is from Ben Lerner, and it is the Topeka School. Ben Lerner is the author of Leaving Atocha Station, and he is a darling, an absolute darling of the literary world, He's a darling of the literary world. He has so many fans. And, well, okay, so what have we got here? I don't have an actual sell sheet for this. I just have the an address from the publisher, which calls the Topeka School a breakthrough. Only Lerner could have written it. And yet no one could have expected it. They're just trying to get me to sound off. I'm not going to do it, though, because a lot of readers of contemporary fiction who I really respect like this guy's work. They like it a lot more than I do. And that gives me pause. That leads me to think, in this case, that I might be wrong. Set in Kansas in the 1990s, far from the cities through which Lerner's previous two protagonists have wandered, and also falling right in line with something that we have noticed on this channel many times, which is contemporary fiction writers intentionally setting their work before the internet. The book tells the story of Adam Gordon, a high school senior whose hair is drawn into a ponytail while the sides of his head are shaved, a disastrous tonsorial compromise between the lefty household of his parents and the red state in which he was raised. That's a quote from the book. This novel is a history of that lefty household told in his psychologist parents' voices. It is also a disturbing, if often very funny, exploration of the forces that have led us to Trump's America. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, like I say, he is a big deal. This is going to get reviewed everywhere in October. And I will certainly read it. I will read it in an open mind. I will hope that whatever made him a favorite of a lot of critics that I know will make him a favorite of mine eventually. Maybe I'm just a slow learner. We shall see. I mean, that gesture of this being partially sociological, a look at the roots of the primal forces that got us Trump's America. First of all, it's not Trump's America. He lost the election by a huge number of votes. And his weird, fraudulent, fascist, Carney Barker appeal has never reached a good 70% of the country. So it's not Trump's America. But also, I'm going to stick to my story that I think a lot of these contemporary fiction writers are setting their books pre-1990 or pre the internet in order to avoid the complications of trying to capture the internet in prose. They either do that or, even worse, because I do consider that kind of an abrogation. Contemporary novelists, right? People who are writing today, if they're not writing historical fiction, then part of their job is to reflect their era. Right? That's what we go to novelists for. It's one of the few things that they have any use at. If you're intentionally avoiding that for no other reason than to avoid it, then that's pretty dicey. That's pretty critical. I can criticize you for that. It's either you do it for that reason, or even worse, you write a contemporary novel with a whole bunch of contemporary characters who have, Tide Pods and jeweling and whatnot, and they just never talk about the internet and never seem to use their cell phones. That's even worse. But anyway, I'm sure that won't be a big deal, a big part of this book. So I will give this book a fair try when the time comes. I will not read it until the summer's over. But let's see. Let's see what this next one is. So much for my prediction of finished copies. What is this? Heavens to Murgatroyd. All right, this. What on earth is this? Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, Bean, this is what I was worried about. I was worried that you wouldn't be able to get down. Why don't you come back up here and just tough it out on the windowsill? Okay, just tough it out until the path is cleared, baby. You can't do that. There's no way for you to get down. You have to just come back up here and tough it out. That's all. Okay, this pub sheet is 4 pages long and does not tell me when this book comes out, but the book says September. All right, you're absolutely determined. So here, let me move this out of the way. All right, go ahead. Let's see here. This is it's by Rachel Eve Moulton, and it's called Tinfoil Butterfly. And it looks like it's a horror novel. For my fellow horror fans and me, the last several years have been an exciting time, with the genre enjoying an infusion of new ideas, complex characters, stylish narrative techniques, and adventurous young talent. See, that's the thing. I'm not plugged into the horror scene at all. Cameron, at Book Movie Guy, would know more about that. Some of this has been in the world of film. Cannibal movie doubling as a feminist coming-of-age story. That's Raw. Heredity's cult thriller family drama. Goodnight Mommy's dark exploration of motherhood. But writers are increasingly becoming part of this revitalization as well, and this book is not just a gripping read in one sitting story. It's a book that makes horror feel fresh and vital, steeped in the genre's history while simultaneously pushing it in exciting new directions. Okay, and this is set in South Dakota's Black Hills. It comes out in September, and it's horror, so I will be ignoring it for the time being. Let's see here. Let's press on. I am making a mess on this couch, but at least the bean is elsewhere. Okay, more fiction. This is July. This is Chandler Baker's book Whisper Network. Let's see here. These past 14 months, women have been speaking out and speaking up, and the world is listening. Chandler Baker channels that demand to be heard in her fierce adult debut, Everyone Will Hear Coming. The novel boldly asks, what happens when women decide enough is enough? Okay. Alright, so this is a hashtag #MeToo novel that thinks that it's breaking new ground? Is that right? These past 14 months, women have been speaking out and speaking up, and the world is listening. And this novel boldly asks, what happens when women decide enough is enough? Seems to me that was the organizing question of Lysistrata about 3,000 years ago. What have we got here? Sloane, Gracie, Artie, and Rosalita have worked at Truviv Inc., an athleisure apparel, that's one word, athleisure apparel company based in Dallas for years. They've worked hard, sacrificing family time, vacations, and countless other little luxuries to get where they are. But when the company's CEO unexpectedly dies, they all start to whisper about the man who is next in line for the job. Ames Garrett. Ames is a complicated man, a man they've all known for a long time, a man who's always been surrounded by rumors about how he treats women. With Ames poised to take over the company, these four women must decide whether to turn their whispers into roars or take action before it's too late. Sloane and her colleagues set in motion a catastrophic shift in the Truviv offices, quite unlike what anyone was expecting. Okay, all right. Very clearly, this is not a novel for me. I'd be willing to bet that somewhere in the author's acknowledgments or the indicia of the book, it's going to explicitly say that it's not for men, and that no men need read it. But it comes out in early July, and I've got a finished copy, so I will read it. Let's see here. Whisper networks are gossip. Invidious gossip designed to torpedo someone's career and someone's life and someone's livelihood. So if whisper networks in the book are held up as a heroic thing, it's going to be a little dicey for me. But we shall see. The pub sheet very intentionally remains ambiguous. So could be. Oh boy. Oh, fantastic. All right, great. I have already recommended this book to you. This is a June 4th release, so this is today, Monday? So Tuesday. So these 50 million books that all have June 4th release dates technically are out tomorrow. And this is Walt Odes. This is the finished copy of Out of the Shadows. Fantastic. This one comes with blurbs and a calendar of his reading dates. He will be at Books Incorporated in in San Francisco. He will be at Books Incorporated in Berkeley. He's doing Seattle and Vancouver. And he'll be in New York. He'll be at the Bureau of General Services, let's see here, on 208 West 13th Street, between 7th Avenue and Greenwich Avenue. He'll be there in late June. And we've talked about this book a couple of times on this channel, so I won't drag you through it again. But this is an update, really, of his book In the Shadow of an Epidemic. And it's tremendous. It's tremendously good. It's moving and really smart, written beautifully, and with tons and tons of documents of stuff like that. Just a great book. The guy wrote a seminal work of gay life in America, and now he's written a second one. So that doesn't often happen. So that's wonderful. All right, let's move on. What is next here? Okay, I never know what I'm going to get on this channel. All right, what is this? This is a little book. It's going to be a little paperback in October called The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life by Boyd Varty. Did you know that the principles of lion tracking can be applied to your everyday life? Somewhere deep inside, you know what your gift, purpose, and mission are. Bob Varty, a South African lion tracker and life coach, prescribes nature as a cure to deliver some much-needed self-care and help you reconnect with your wild self. When we join Boyd Varty and his two friends tracking lions, we are immersed in the South African bush, and already we learn some of the skills required for actual tracking. The takeaways are the strategies that can be applied to our everyday lives. Trackers learn how to use all of their senses to read the environment and enter into a state of greater aliveness. When we learn to find and follow our inner tracks, we learn to see what is deeply important to us. In the same way, the trip in the classic Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance was a vehicle to examine how to live our lives, the story of this one-day adventure, with danger and suspense along the way, uses the ancient art of tracking to convey profound lessons on how to live a purposeful, meaningful life of greater harmony. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. This comes out in October, so I don't have to think about it until then. I'm hoping that the author spares a sentence for the main purpose to which lion tracking has been put for the last 8,000 years of human history, which was not to commune with the lion. I'm hoping the author spares a note to that effect somewhere in there. I mean, I guess the equivalent would be Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, provided at the end of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, you tear apart your motorcycle. Lion tracking was a prelude to lion killing. So this guy, maybe he just tracks them, although why on earth maybe he tracks them as a game guide for tourists, although why on earth you would do that, I have no idea. If you track a lion, there's a good chance you'll encounter one. And they're 400 pounds with linoleum knives for claws. Okay, what have we got here from the great folks at Pegasus Books? What is this? This is by Lloyd Spencer Davis, and it is A Polar Affair. And the subtitle, the irresistible subtitle, is Antarctica's Forgotten Hero and the Secret Love Lives of Penguins. What is this? This is a new book by today's leading penguin expert, known throughout his native New Zealand as Professor Penguin. Gregory Murray Levick was the physician on Robert Falcon Scott's tragic Antarctic expedition of 1910. Marooned for an Antarctic winter, Levick passed the time by becoming the first man to study penguins up close. His findings were so shocking to Victorian morals that they were quickly suppressed and seemingly lost to history. A century later, Lloyd Spencer Davis rediscovers Levick and his findings during the course of his own scientific adventures in Antarctica. Levick's long-suppressed manuscript reveals not only the incredible survival story, but one that will challenge and change our understanding of an entire species. Oh my God, all right, I'm on board. This comes out in September, and it's the first book in this pile so far that makes me not want to wait. All right, fantastic. Okay, let's, oh no, we want to save the box for last, don't we? All right, so let's see what this next one is. This one is, it's kind of weird. Doesn't seem like it's from a publisher. What have we got here? Oh boy. Oh, it's not from a publisher. It's from one of you. Oh, fantastic. How wonderful. When I was up in Vermont for Memorial Day, I found an Angela Thirkell novel. A beautiful, what is this? Virago Modern Classic trade paperback of one of her novels. It's an author I've often been meaning to revisit. I usually find her in ratty mass markets, but I found one. I found Pomfret Towers that I haven't got to yet, but it's on the launch pad. It will be soon. And I mentioned in that video that if I could find other editions with this same cover art, I would love it. I would get them all. And see, one of you sent me these. Isn't that wonderful? Wild Strawberries and High Rising. Isn't that wonderful? Aren't they lovely? Oh, Liz, thank you so much. How wonderful. All right. All right, fine. Wonderful. Let's see. Let's see what this next one is. This is also kind of weird. Not really in a publisher package at all. What is this? Is this also from one of you? Oh. Oh wow, it is. Oh, again with no note, nothing, no hello that I can see. This is J.B. Priestley. This is Particular Pleasures of J.B. Priestley. I mentioned him when I was starting this biography tour because I have a bunch of his oversized picture books about the Edwardians and the Victorians and the Prince Regent, the Regency era. And here's another one of those books. This is another one of those that's just about people that he's known. It's not an era study. Oh, fantastic! How wonderful! All right, well, there's no attribution here. I don't know who to thank, but whoever you are, thank you very much. This goes on the list as well. Wow. Well, okay, now it's kind of boring to go back to publisher mail. Well, we'll do that and just finish this up. So what is this? What is this next one? Do you want to tear this apart, Bean? I knew this was going to happen. As soon as I made a space for her to get off, she wants to get back on. It's like having a little cat. Oh my, okay. Oh, very good. All right, so I don't think this comes out for a while. I am going to be interested in reading this, but this comes out in October, so I don't have to worry about it right away. This is by James Smith, and it's On the Road with St. Augustine. St. Augustine, On the Road with St. Augustine is not so much a book about Augustine, but more like the book the saint would write about us. In many ways, Augustine is our contemporary. He knows us from the inside, our temptations, our fears, our idolatries, but he also points the way out of them. You're looking for yourself. This ancient African has a map, says Smith, who has spent time on the road with Augustine and now invites readers along for the journey. Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm on board to read it, and I know what's going to happen. It's going to make me want to reread the Confessions. That's fine by me. I'm always willing to revisit the Confessions. All right, let's forge on here. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're not even at the 30-minute mark. It's barely a note here. Let's see what this next one is. I'm clearly going to have to work on the ergonomics of this, clearly. All right, this is a murder mystery? Yes, this is a murder mystery. This is coming out in July by Aof Clifford. I think we saw this already. This is a finished copy of Second Sight. Right? A gripping murder mystery slowly teased out as Melbourne lawyer Eliza Carmody struggles to make sense of a murderer on the run, a missing teenage girl, and a destructive wildfire that has left an entire town scarred. When the biggest legal case of her career brings Eliza back to Kinsale, the hometown she thought she'd left forever, she witnesses an old friend commit a crime that sends her on a dangerous quest to uncover the mysteries of her childhood that the rest of the town seems willing to ignore. With her friend on the run and the police investigating the bones of an unidentified dead body at a historical homestead near town, Eliza becomes convinced that the truth lies in her memories of a New Year's Eve years ago when her friend Grace disappeared from Kinsale forever. Okay, so this is a murder mystery set in Australia, and the author lives in Melbourne, and has won a ton of awards. And I have not got to this. This has got to be a June release. No, this is July. This is an early July release. A lot of murder mysteries. That's fine by me. That's fine by me. This is one of the things I love about me current life, is that no matter what kind of genre hunger I have, the mail supplies it. So that's great. All right, let's see. This is the last of our envelopes. Then we'll do the box. The box is buried here somewhere. So I'm gonna have to work on this. Oh my! Oh goodness gracious! All right. Well, this is a finished copy. I guess I knew this was coming. I haven't delved into it because I know that it's gonna give me agita. It's gonna irritate me. But I will do it anyway. I have to do it anyway. This is, I think, a June release. No, this is July. This is a July release. This is a finished copy of Christian Keller's The Great Partnership, a book about the grand team-up of Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee, that I suspect is going to be long on hagiography. But who is the author now? Let's see. He is the Dwight Eisenhower Chair of National Security and Professor of History in the Department of National Security and Strategy at the United States Army War College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And he's the author, co-editor, or editor of 5 previous books on the American Civil War. Okay, all right. Oh, that's a fairly impressive CV. So we'll just have to see. Maybe, I mean, it's the syrupy cover goes a long way to the sentimental look, the gentle touch, the mist in the background, the traveler munching on grass and waiting for his heroic master's Fanny to get back in the saddle, that sort of thing. Maybe it's just the cover. Maybe I'm judging the book by its cover. I find it hard to believe that a guy with these credentials could just go in for gauzy stereotypes. So I'll just have to hope that doesn't happen. It's coming up, but I still have so much in June to do that I'm even July books are going to have to wait a bit. All right, and then we've got one box, and then we'll be done. What is this last one here? Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. All right. We end with World War II history, and this is a June book. No, this is a July book. Son of a gun. All right. Looks like July 2nd is going to be the next big day, the next big release day. This is the finished copy of Tim Tate's Hitler's Secret Army. Very, very stylishly done thing from Pegasus Books. Between 1939 and 1945, more than 70 Allied men and women were convicted, mostly in secret trials, of working to help Nazi Germany win the war. These men and women were part of a little-known fifth column, traitors who committed crimes including espionage, sabotage, communicating with the enemy, and attempts to cause disaffection among Allied troops. I did not know the number was as high as 70. That's interesting. Hundreds of official files, released piecemeal and in remarkably haphazard fashion in the years between 2002 and 2017, reveal the truth about the Allied men and women who formed these spy rings. Most were ardent fascists. All willingly betrayed their own country in the hopes of anticipation of a Nazi victory. And in this book, the author uses these files to build a dramatic expose of Allied subterfuge and betrayal that uncovers the treachery of undercover fascist and American Nazi spy rings during the height of World War II. Fascinating. If these men and women were, for the most part, lone wolves or members of small networks, others were much more dangerous. In 1940, during some of the darkest days of the Blitz, 2 well-connected British Nazi sympathizers planned overlapping conspiracies to bring about a fascist revolution. As Tate rigorously shows in this new history, these plots were foiled by Allied spy masters through radical and often contentious methods of investigation. Fantastic. Okay. I've had this, and it's a July book, so I'm going to give it a little bit of time, but this actually goes on the pile. Who is Tim Tate when he's at home? A multi-award-winning documentary filmmaker, investigative journalist, and prolific author. Over a career spanning 40 years, he has made more than 80 documentaries for British networks and international broadcasters. Wow. Okay, and he's the author of 15 previous books. Okay. Great. There are 2. I mean, we've seen a ton of World War II, very specific genre histories of World War II. We've seen a ton of those in the last few months. This is one of them that I'm looking forward to. The other one is there's a new book. I forget the name of it, but it's about the Waffen-SS. It's a study like this, and like this one, it purports to rely on a lot of original research. So I'm always up for that to see what. Okay, well, there you go. I don't know how I'm going to do a Steve Pyramid. The angles are all wrong here. We have Hitler's Secret Army. We have Second Sight. A couple of murder mysteries in here. They're very nice. We have Particular Pleasures by J.B. Priestley, which will not go on the biography shelf, I don't think, but that's going to be a delight to read. We have The Great Partnership, American Civil War History, this one dealing with Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. We have Out of the Shadows by Walt Odets. Whisper Network by Chandler Baker. The Topeka School by Ben Lerner. A celebrated author. There's no way around that. Let's see here. A Polar Affair. I'm going to show you these things. A Polar Affair. On the Road with St. Augustine. No, we're not going to be able to do this. Not because I can't handle the books, but because the camera just isn't big enough. We have An Appeal to the Ladies of Hyderabad and The Right Sort of Man, the first book in a mystery series. We have a horror novel, 2 Angela Thirkle novels, and a Lion Tracker's Guide to Life. So I couldn't really make a full Steve Pyramid here, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this. Maybe put the camera up on the couch, but then invariably, if I do that, Frida will want to hop up on the couch and knock it over. And unlike my Basset Hound Lucy used to be the same way, just unbelievably pig-headed, so that if you told her no, she wanted yes. If you told her yes, she wanted no, no matter what. But unlike Lucy, Frida can get anywhere. She can jump wherever she wants to go. Lucy used to be just mulish like that, standing in one place like a cow in a field. Frida can get airborne in 2 seconds. So I'm going to figure this out. I'll figure this out as I go along. So there you go. Nice big mail haul to start the week. So what appealed to you here? I've got my favorites. And I've also got a couple of presents, which is really nice. You people really shouldn't be sending me books. It should be the other way around. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.